So you're interested in 40K. You're interested in Space Marines. Of course you are. We all are. That's why we're here. But if you're anything like I was when I was new to 40K, you have a bunch of questions. Let's talk about it. Studio's coming along, guys. You know, better lights, better audio. By the Emperor, we'll get there. Now, when I started to dip my toes into the grim dark, I had a bunch of very random questions. Random being the key word. No real structure, right? Now, as I did in the last video, as I will do in all future Warhammer videos, I will have channel recommendations in the description for those interested in diving deep into the lore. And as always, I will try and tackle those random questions and queries, keeping it short and concise, or as short and concise as possible. All right, enough noise. Let's get gaming. Last video, we talked about 5 things every newcomer should know about Space Marine 2 to help make heads or tails of what's going on in-game. This video, topics will be a little bit broader, but still be referencing the main beats of the game. Here are 5 things that will confuse you in the world of 40K and in Space Marine 2. This is the video, so we're gonna go the blank. So number 1, the tech. You may have noticed that in Space Marine 2, the tech, even though very futuristic and advanced, seems to be in its own way archaic. And the attitude people have towards that tech, especially the machine cult, seems very ritualistic, very superstitious. There's a reason behind this. In 40K, humanity already went through the age of advanced cybernetic technology and AI. As with most things in Warhammer, it didn't end too well. Humanity went through what is referred to as the dark age of technology. Our tech became so advanced, we basically Skynetted ourselves. The tech took over and oppressed humanity for ages. Long story short, slowly but surely, we overthrew our machine overlords and vowed never again to get got by a toaster. It resulted in what remained of humanity having a very archaic and superstitious outlook on machines. When the Emperor took control of humanity, he reinforced this idea because, well, the dark age of technology. It is a little old school for Space Marines and their allies to be worshipping tech and war gear, but it isn't always without reason. The tech is definitely advanced when compared to modern day, but it is treated as something ancient and revered. Because of the dark age of technology, humanity is forbidden from researching or developing any type of AI or cybernetic technologies. A similar concept is present in Dune, another epic sci-fi IP. A lot of the tech we do have, we can't recreate. We don't have the records, we don't have the blueprints, and we're too scared to take a peek under the hood because if we mess it up, we might not be able to put it back together. This concept is one of my favorites in 40K. We have tech priests who crave knowledge so fiercely, so rest assured, there are definitely tech priests out there who want to delve into AI and cybernetics and stuff, but humanity itself is such a backwards thinking species as of the 42nd millennium. In the last 40,000 years, we've had our asses handed to us so many times that humans hate anything new or innovative. Because if history has taught us anything, it's that the unknown can and will kill us. There is some truth to all these tech superstitions though. Everything, every species, every individual, every concept, every idea has cosmic energy. As I'll describe in point number 5, stick around till the end of the video to find out, there exists a parallel world where cosmic and spiritual energy can very easily manifest. So in a galaxy dependent on space travel, which is dependent on tech, you end up with powerful manifestations of technology in this parallel world. This is of course referring to the machine spirit. This is why you will see advanced space tech being idolized, being worshipped. You'll see weapons being blessed, ammo being blessed. There are many debates as to whether the machine spirit influenced the birth of technology or if it was the cosmic product of so many species developing tech, a chicken-egg situation, if you will. But within 40K, humanity cannot deny the influence of the machine spirit. Keep the machine spirit of your tech happy and your tech won't fail you. This concept becomes easier to understand when you dive deeper into the lore and explore stuff like Titans, Imperial Knights, Dreadnoughts. Not everyone, not every Space Marine is as dedicated to the concept of the machine spirit, but it is one of, if not the only, superstitious belief that is tolerated by the Imperium. Anything else of the sort is heresy. Okay, number 2, the Cadians. These absolute badasses are the Cadian Guard. They are guardsmen, an all-human faction of Warhammer 40,000. The armies of humanity have all sorts of factions. To name a few, there's the Space Marines, the Adeptus Astartes, there's the Sisters of Battle, the Adeptus Sororitas, there's the Custodian Guard, the Adeptus Custodes, there's a lot of Adeptuses. There's the Imperial Navy, the Officio Assassinorum, and of course, there's the Guardsmen. These are regular men and women, people like you and me, who are serving and protecting the Imperium. Guardsmen are epic. They aren't superhuman. They don't have power armor or advanced weapons. Their standard issue firearm is infamously one of the weakest weapons in 40K, the Las Rifle. It's a laser rifle, in case that wasn't clear. These soldiers aren't bioengineered to never feel fear. They can't heal from mortal injuries like a Space Marine can. They have to march over the bodies of their dead comrades on a regular basis to continue fighting the good fight. And for the last 10,000 years, they have held the line. Arguably one of the most badass, if not the most badass, regiment of the Guardsmen are the Cadians from planet Cadia. Planet Cadia is dead. It's in a million pieces. We can thank Chaos for that. But the will of the people is still very much alive. Cadia stands. Cadia still stands. Cadia will always stand. The Cadians that survived are still fighting the good fight to this day. Cadia used to be a planet that existed in the shadow of an enormous rift between our dimension and the warp. See point number 5 of this video. This resulted in the Cadians developing piercing purple eyes. Their people became hardened and strong, having to live amongst warp shenanigans on a daily basis. Their history is tragic, but their legacy is one of loyalty, honor, and duty. A Cadian will die before betraying Big E. A Cadian will die before giving in to the enemy. No matter how many of them fall, they will keep marching forward. In-game, you will see this Giga Chad giving a phenomenal speech. You'll see traitors being executed without mercy. And I love that when there are warp shenanigans going on that are too much for a normal human's brain to comprehend, you can still hear this NPC fighting for their life. You or I would be cooked. She is a loyal daughter of Cadia. She's most likely dead, but she went out like a G. One of my favorite fan-made 40K videos is The Guardsman. It's one of the only, if not the only, live-action fan content out there. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. It is very short, but it's epic, and it features a Cadian. Go check it out. Number 3, the Codex Astartes.
What is the worst that happen? Keep to the code. Aye, the code.
The Codex Astartes is a giant rulebook that all Space Marine chapters are supposed to follow. Not every chapter does, though. By the way, Astartes is just another name for Space Marines. It's the High Gothic name. In 40K, the official language of the Imperium is Low Gothic, which refers to English, and the upper echelons of humanity, all official names, important places, historical events, all that stuff is represented in High Gothic, which refers to Latin. The word Astartes isn't a Latin word, though. It's actually the last name of the head scientist that helped the Emperor create the Astartes program, but I digress. The Codex Astartes is the codex or the code for Space Marines. It was created by Rebute Gilliman, one of the Emperor's sons, father of the Ultramarines, the biggest boy in blue you have ever seen. Robotic Ghillie Suit is a Primarch, and I'm currently making a video that covers the Emperor's genetic family tree, so subscribe if you're interested. I'll be explaining who the Primarchs are, the Emperor's sons. But as far as this video is concerned, Rubber Band Gilgamesh mandated that every Space Marine chapter follow the rules he set forth. Some of his brother Primarchs didn't really like the idea, but he was always the Emperor's little planner, so eventually the Codex was incorporated into the laws of the Imperium. The chapters that follow the Codex are considered Codex compliant, while the chapters that don't are considered non-compliant. Not all non-compliant chapters are evil or bad, though. You have to remember that the Grim Dark is huge, and there are a lot of factions who consider themselves to be the good guys. FYI, there are no good guys. Welcome to 40K. There are chapters that hate the Codex, but love the Emperor. There are chapters that follow some rules and not others. In the campaign of the game, we play as Ultramarines, and they are probably the most Codex-compliant chapter out there, at times even to a fault. See, when turned into a Space Marine, a soldier's mind is re-hardwired to not ask questions, to not think outside the box unless called for in combat, to follow orders without varying interpretations of those orders. So naturally, if you give them a set of morals to think about, they'll take that as if you gave them a list of orders to complete. Not every Space Marine is like this, but most are. Most are rigid, one-track minded, no room for even an inch of compromise. Which brings me to our next point and character, the Chaplain.
Oh my God, bro.
Oh, hell no.
Man, have I got some shit to say here. You may have noticed this dude, always giving you shit for one reason or another. You'll see that his armor is different to everyone else's, and for some reason, all other Space Marines seem to revere him. That's because this is a chaplain. Every Space Marine chapter has a chaplain who acts as a spiritual leader. Spirituality is a big part of every chapter, even though each chapter has a different perception of it. Different chapters may even have different names to call their respective chaplains, but every chapter has one. They're responsible for making sure the chapter stays spiritually healthy, and I don't mean in a Zen kind of way. A chaplain's job is to make sure that the chapter stays true to their core values, paying proper respect and tribute to Big E, not straying from the path of the Imperium. If a Space Marine is a warrior, then a chaplain is a warrior monk or a warrior priest. They look over the relics of the chapter, cater the chapter's history, make sure the chapter's goals and ambitions are being fulfilled. To this end, they have quite a bit of authority. One of my favorite 40k characters is a chaplain, Grimaldus of the Black Templars. But one of my least favorite characters apparently is also a chaplain. Turns out this guy is Leandros? Like what? I've been rotting away in the Death Watch for over 100 years. Meanwhile, this turd gets a promotion? Where do I file a complaint? Calgar approved of this. This is a sorry piece of shit. This is Leandros, one of our companions from the previous game. In Space Marine 2, you'll see that Titus has a unique sensitivity to warp energy. This was also present in the first Space Marine game. This makes those around him question, like, how is he so attuned to the warp? Is he a demon? No! He's loyal, goddammit. After we kill the final boss of Space Marine 1 and complete the game, Leandros thinks we did it all with the help of the warp, that we're a secret agent of chaos or something. So this rat bastard tattletales. He bitches. He goes to the feds, bro. We just saved an entire planet together, and you make up fake news about me? I was so mad. He calls in the Inquisition, the body of power responsible for keeping the rest of humanity in line. In the hierarchy of authority and power, the Inquisition is up there. If they decide you're a heretic, you're a heretic. It was nice knowing you. They are corrupt, cynical, power-hungry, tyrannical. They decided, regardless of whether it was true or not, they could use this accusation to their advantage. Titus would have to become their lapdog and prove that he was loyal, do their dirty work, lick their boots. If he refused, then they would take that as an admission to guilt, in which case the rest of his squad must also be traitors, right? In which case they'll all have to die. So obviously Titus was like, chill, I'll do whatever you say, and get sent to the Death Watch. That's why your armor is different in the beginning of the game. The Death Watch is like the frickin' Night's Watch, where high-ranking Space Marines are sent to make up for their fuck-ups. Like, Leandros made Titus take the black, bro. In Space Marine 2, we get shit from this chaplain throughout. So when I tell you, when he took that helmet off and showed his smug little face, like, we've been talking the whole game, dude. You didn't think to mention even once, oh, hey, Titus, sorry for having you thrown in the Death Watch. Turns out Calgar approves of you. My bad, bro. I hope you fall into Nurgle's cauldron, you f***. Number 5, the warp. In the previous video, one of the 5 things that I covered was chaos. In this video, I'll go over the warp with a more general outlook. Another classic sci-fi fantasy trope, a parallel dimension that is essentially made up of some form or another of energy. In 40k, any type of magic or sorcery is classified as psychic energy in varying forms. You shoot lightning from your fingertips, you can teleport, you can breathe fire, you can turn into woodland creatures. Well then, you, my friend, have psychic energy. You're a psyker. The warp is a dimension made up of psychic energy. Every concept, every idea, every individual, every planet, everything has a presence in the warp. Except for nulls, but we'll cover them in a future video. This means there definitely is good stuff floating about in the warp. I don't know, like dreams and paradises, good guy gods, stuff like that. But when the universe has been at war for millions of years, the bad stuff will eclipse anything remotely good. So even though the warp may not have started out as an evil place, it slowly but surely became literal hell. As mentioned, the warp is the source of all supernatural powers within the world of 40k. Every species, even Tyranids, have beings that can use warp sorcery. Using warp sorcery can be incredibly dangerous, especially for minds as fragile as humans. To a weak mind, the warp is poison. It will twist and corrupt. If you're a psyker who can't handle their shit, then you're a potential gateway for demons to access our world. Listen to the wrong voice whispering in your ear, and you may end up a servant of one of the chaos gods who more or less rule the warp. Here's the catch. Without it, we wouldn't be able to travel light years across the galaxy. The warp can bend real space in a way where if you can navigate it correctly, you can cover vast distances in a fraction of the time it would normally take. Without this type of space travel, we would never have been able to inhabit planets beyond our immediate solar system. In Dune, space travel is dependent on spice. In 40k, space travel is dependent on the warp. Different Space Marine chapters have varying tolerances for warp shenanigans. Some chapters love magic and space sorcery, while other chapters absolutely despise it. It should be mentioned that most of humanity's enemies use or abuse warp power on a regular basis. So, as dangerous as it is, humanity needs its own soldiers who can use such powers to be able to fight back. Space Marine chapters have librarians, not bookkeepers, psyker Space Marines. There are many Lord Inquisitors who are psychers. The Grey Knights, the unknown 666th chapter, is comprised of Giga Chad super psychers. Psychers are cool, and without them, whatever's left of Big E back on Terra would wither away and die. This video is already getting a little too long, but rest assured I'll be covering why that is in my next video. Stay tuned. But that's going to do it for today's video, guys. If you stuck around till the end, you are awesome, and I couldn't be happier that you're embracing the grim dark. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell for all notifications, and keep an eye out for more upcoming Warhammer content. Till next time, Battle Brothers and Sisters, I'll see you then.